Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the show. We're your hosts, Grant Cohn, all 49er Sports Illustrated, Jack Hammer, Santa Rosa Press Democrat, where a lot of heavy hitters have come from. Matt Mayoko, Eric Branch, Mike Silver, me, now Jack Hammer. Look, the title of the show is Reasonable Expectations for Lance. I don't think Niner fans are going to have those, but we're going to try to lay out what those might be. We're also going to talk about Azeez Al-Shaair and the leaks, because someone's leaking. But first, let's talk about Jimmy again, because we may not have many more opportunities to talk about Jimmy, and Jimmy's fun to talk about. Jack, please explain to me how it took 4 days for anyone, us, the team, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, to learn about Jimmy Garoppolo's thumb. How did this happen?
Yeah, it's really a surprise to everybody, right? It took all of us by surprise when we heard about this. There was no mention of it. This is something that typically should have been mentioned. Shanahan always talks about the injuries after the game, even the minor ones, and this wasn't even mentioned then. So it really.
Plus, in the press box, if it happens mid-game, you'll hear so and so has they'll be like Azeez Al-Shaair. We heard this. Azeez Al-Shaair has a knee injury, and his return is questionable. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Didn't hear anything about this one.
Yeah, and there was nothing. There was no word at all. So it really took everybody by surprise, and that's what leads to the speculation.
Was there video footage of him holding his thumb at any point? No.
No, the closest was the one after he gets sacked, but he looks like he's grabbing his hand, but I think he's just, I don't think he's really grabbing at it. I think what Juszczyk said that he told him during the game that it was he'd hurt his thumb, but really there didn't seem like there was any kind of discussion about it, maybe on the sidelines, and I kind of think that Shanahan was covering for it a little bit yesterday for their own mistakes.
It's possible that Jimmy mentioned it in passing to Juszczyk, who could have mentioned it to a coach, who could have mentioned it to Kyle Shanahan, but that's about as formal as it got, it seems. So what it was. Am I to think that it wasn't that bad in the moment, and Jimmy was trying to not make it an issue? He was trying to be a good soldier, a tough guy, not using it as an excuse?
Well, it could have been a situation, during the game, they have all that adrenaline going through them, right? So
right.
It could have hurt, but it wasn't enough to where it was really hurting, if that makes sense, to where you're going to come out of the game. But it does seem odd that it's a torn, whatever's torn inside of his thumb and a fracture, and nobody knew about it until Monday at some point. And it just seems that's really odd to me.
Right. I mean, you'd think, first of all, if it was serious and it affected his first throw of the third quarter interception, bad throw, you'd think, well, why is he playing? Right.
Well, and I hear people talking about that throw, but the problem is you can watch Garoppolo's tape throughout the entire season, and you see him miss that throw in the exact same manner in which he missed that throw in the game.
That's why when it happened, we weren't thinking like, oh, he's got to be hurt. It's like, no, he does stuff like that. That's part of his game. I mean, that's not out of the ordinary.
No, we've seen him. We saw him do it against Minnesota, right? Where luckily there was no safeties behind there. True. But you saw him try to throw over a linebacker to Samuel, and the ball just sails through the secondary. But so it's happened a number of times. So it doesn't,
So when you say that he was covering for himself, Kyle, do you get the feeling that he didn't really know about this during the game?
Yeah, I don't think he really actually knew that there was an injury.
Right. He said he did because he's supposed to know. He's the head coach, but how could you?
Yeah.
How could you know? And I mean, if he knew, none of his decisions afterward really make sense. His lack of explaining, his lack of making an adjustment. It's more likely that he didn't know, and he said he knew because he's supposed to know.
Well, the biggest thing there is the game plan, the way the game played out. He played fine in the second half. He had the one bad throw, but after that, he played okay. I don't think they lost the game because of his thumb injury.
He played exactly the same in the second half as he played in the first half. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
exactly
I agree.
The same.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when I say he's covering for himself, I'm saying more along the lines of the fact that he didn't bring it up on Thursday night after the game.
Right.
That's more what I'm talking about as far as covering up for himself.
Okay, so we have no idea, everyone, but we're trying to see what makes the most sense. What makes the most sense is Jimmy, for whatever reason, didn't talk about this very much. Now we're going to have to ask him, although heaven knows if we'll ever get to talk to him again. But seems to me that he just didn't talk about it. Football players are tough guys, right? And he's got this injury prone label. It's possible he didn't think it was that bad. He didn't want to bring it up. He didn't want to use it as an excuse. I mean, I saw him unscrewing a cap right in front of me. It clearly wasn't killing him after the game. It wasn't anything he needed to talk about. But then it was a very weird weekend. Maybe it got worse. Clearly the relationship between him and the team didn't get better. I mean, things got weird. So maybe at a certain point he's thinking, this hurts. And what you did on Twitter hurts. And the way everyone is just throwing me under the bus is quite unfortunate. So you know what? Guess what, guys? Guess what? You're going to find out something on Monday about me. I'm not going to tell you just yet. I don't know. It was very dramatic on Monday. It did seem like the Niners really were surprised. Maybe they weren't, but it seemed like they got caught off guard.
Yeah, the whole thing was weird the way that it came down, right? You have the report that Garoppolo's not at practice. First off, you have the tweet from the tweet that John Lynch likes over the weekend on Friday, and then you have the report that Garoppolo is not at practice on Monday, and then you have Shanahan telling you that it's
not broken and it's a sprain.
Yeah, it's just a sprain. That's it.
Yeah.
And then within 5 minutes of that report, of him saying that, the press conference you get the report from Schefter and Rappaport that it's a tear and a broken, all those things.
Great. Yeah. So, and we're going to talk about what's up with this and where the information is coming from in a minute. But I think the reason it took us so long to learn about Garoppolo's thumb is it probably took the Niners pretty long to learn about Garoppolo's thumb. I'm not, again, if the Niners really knew about this during the game, the trainers would have checked it out. If the trainers had checked it out, the cameras would have caught that. It was on national television. He's the quarterback. You never can sneak that by. He either would have went in the training tent, or he would have sat in the bench and gotten checked, or they would have checked it. He would have left the field. Well, one of the three, and that didn't happen. So I don't think the Niners really knew until Monday.
No, I agree. I don't, it's a situation where I think it was bothering him. Like I said, I think he played the game all through. The adrenaline the adrenaline probably wears off at some point on that flight home if he flew back with the team, or I don't know what they did after the game, if they all flew back or went to their families, or what they did for Christmas, and then they show up on Monday and all of a sudden they know. I would hope that the team knew about it on Saturday and Sunday, but just didn't say anything to anybody because there was no reason to, because they didn't have any media obligations.
I could just see it from Jimmy's perspective. Like, look, I didn't use this as an excuse. Now, he used other things as an excuse, but I didn't use this as an excuse. I didn't mention this. I got hurt. I played terribly. I didn't talk about it. We lost. And then John Lynch throws me under the bus on Twitter. I mean, I get no support from any of you guys. Just going to let me take this. Okay, well, in that case, let me tell my truth then. I was hurt. Now I'm saying it. Since everyone else wants to throw me in, I was hurt. How about that? You didn't even know it. How about you didn't even know it? Because I'm a good guy. Every time I prove I'm a good guy. And you know what? You guys are a terrible organization that had nothing going for you before I got here. And I made you, but I could just see that being Jimmy's side of the story. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you just me under the bus? Okay. Well, you didn't know something about this. You didn't know I was hurt.
Oh yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I can see something like that playing out, in the background, away from everybody. Just with the way that this whole thing has gone on all season long, and then we're going to get to it a little bit as far as where this information is coming from with regards to the injured, how bad the injury is, and I think that all kind of plays into kind of some of what you're talking about here.
And again, I don't think he's shutting himself down, like to spite the Niners. I think it's like how he relayed the news to them. It's like, oh, John Lynch going to like that tweet. Well, maybe you're going to find out about my injury when everyone else finds out at that point. Instead of me calling you on a Saturday and telling you, actually, it hurts and I'm getting imaging done. And this could be prepared. You might want to get Trey Lance ready right now. You're going to learn when I don't show up on Monday. And then you're going to find out from Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport what the exact prognosis is, like everyone else. Sorry. You're just like everyone else now because it's, I don't know. It's possible. Because to me, that's what's interesting is how the information, the Niners didn't know. He has a press conference and he's like, okay, let me tell you the information. And Eric Branch is, so is it broken? Kyle's like, oh, no, it's not broken. It's just sprained. It's broken and it's torn. Oh, okay. That's interesting. What's going on here, guys? Why the disconnect? Well, maybe Jimmy's a little pissed. Maybe Jimmy's feeling like you wanted to push me out. Fine. Go to the playoffs without me.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, this isn't the first time. We had this happen with his calf earlier this season too.
Right.
Remember where they were
Right.
talking about it being one thing, and Shanahan's talking about it being one thing, and then Garoppolo gets up there right after, and he's talking about it being a more
Worse.
serious injury
Yeah.
than what,
Yeah.
and just it just who knows what's going on. And I remember writing an article about that afterwards because it was just too funny to hear the disconnect between the two.
Plus, there was last year, the second time he got hurt, it hurt his ankle, and he wasn't playing, and they were saying that he was doing great in practice when he was saying, "I'm injured, I'm not ready to play." There was that too. Anyway, also there
Yep.
was that thing in New England when he hurt his shoulder, and Martellus Bennett had that little story about that earlier this year about how he kind of took himself out. Anyway,
Yeah.
seems to be what his handlers like to do for him is to keep him healthy, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're
Strange.
going to get to it. We'll get to that here
Yeah.
with one of our other topics.
Arian A, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Let me see if we have any other comments real quick. We may not. I don't think we do. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. Okay. My dad asked this question on Twitter. It's a good question. If Trey Lance starts on Sunday, do the Niners' chances of winning go up or down? Now, my initial reaction here is they go down, even though my pinned tweet is that Trey Lance gives the Niners the best chance to win. And I believe that. It's also a little rough that he hasn't played in 11 weeks, and maybe he might be rusty in his first start in such a situation. And the fact that if anything were to happen to him, like he were to, sprain his thumb or something and have to miss a little bit of time, Jimmy's not coming in. It's Sudfeld. And I don't think any team can win with Sudfeld. So that hurts. You don't have your backup quarterback anymore. You got Sudfeld. But there's got to be an argument for why the chances go up, right?
Yeah, the argument that I would make for the chances going up is, Lance hasn't turned the ball over a lot throughout his collegiate career. I know he had the one turnover in the game against Arizona, but when you look at the numbers for Houston, they're not very good when it comes to their net passing yards allowed or the yards per rushing attempt allowed. But where they do show up good at it is in terms of the passer rating allowed. They're one of the top. I think they're 8th in the NFL in passer rating allowed. And part of the reason they're so high there is because they actually have 16 interceptions this season, which is more than the Texans had or have, even after the two interceptions they had from Garoppolo on Thursday night. So there's definitely some things to worry about. I think if the options it goes up if the 49ers limit their turnovers in terms of just limit the turnovers in general. Lance should give them that, and hopefully we see the game plan built around him not throwing the ball 30 times like he did against Arizona.
Agree. It seems to me that you need to put him under center and let him run your offense. What they did last game was kind of use him as a wildcat. And I understand, I guess his finger wasn't quite 100% and you couldn't really, his throws were erratic early in the season. And I hope it was just because of the finger, because it was alarming. It was alarming, right? He couldn't throw spirals. He could not throw spirals. And we'll see if he can in this game. But it seemed like they were saying, we don't have Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Mitchell's coming off an injury. You got to play Wildcat in this game. And it almost worked. Had they not gone 1 for 5 on 4th down, they might have pulled off an upset over a team that was undefeated at the time. In this game, you can't use them that way. Again, you don't have Jimmy waiting. You have Sudfeld right there. And you got to win. This is a must-win freaking game. So Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to play. Mitchell should be healthy. Stick to the script. Let him run your offense. He can hand off from under center. And then when you do throw, you can reincorporate play action into your offense, which is nice because it's been gone. It's been gone for a while.
Yeah, and I think that's what the main piece what you said there, that is let him run your offense. Let's not see that crazy wildcat stuff that you did in Arizona. That was not good. Get into your regular flow of your offense. You have, Deebo Samuel and Ayuk were both there the first time, but he didn't have the running game, wasn't being utilized the way it was now. Samuel wasn't quite being utilized in that way. Also, at that point in the season, that's when Samuel was having a lot of trouble holding onto the ball. True. As well. He was dropping a lot of passes earlier in the season. So, hopefully, having George Kittle around will help him out as well.
But it seems to me that the Texans have a very poor run defense, and their pass defense is actually pretty good. So this may encourage Kyle Shanahan to actually really commit to the run game, which could only help Trey Lance.
Yeah, I think the 49ers, if they just stick to the ground game in this, I think that they should be able to go to 25, 20 passes this game and win. The only time that everybody kind of makes a big deal about this Texans win over Los Angeles and their win against Tennessee, but they were I think +8 in those two games. 5 turnovers by Tennessee, 3 last week by Los Angeles, and they didn't have any. So as long as you hold on to the ball, I think you're the better team. You should win.
And, I think one way that you can limit turnovers is with Jimmy, everything's over the middle because that's his skill set. With Lance, I think you want to avoid the middle of the field for now because when he misses very high. And those are interceptions to safeties. We've seen it. So when he's throwing to the sideline, if he misses high, he's just going to hit someone on the sideline. He won't throw a pick. I think he likes throwing those passes. Let's see him get Sherfield, Debo, Ayuk the ball deep down the sideline. I mean, it'll be a look that defenses haven't seen from the 49ers in a very long time.
Yeah, that's definitely his area of the field anyway. That's where he likes to work. So, get him moving left and right and out of the pocket and let him make those throws because that's where he's going to be at his best.
Yes. So, will the 49ers, do the chances of winning go up? I think so. I'm a little nervous, though. I don't root for the 49ers or anything, but all of a sudden this game looks very losable for this team. And if they lose this game, it would be so disheartening for the rest. I mean, it would be over. The season would be done. Go beat the Rams after losing at home to the Texans, right?
Yeah, no, there's no way they can lose this game and expect to reach the playoffs, at least in my opinion.
Absolutely not. Kyle didn't want Texans to plan for just one quarterback, hence the sprain claim. Go Trey. The future is here.
Yeah, I mean that's the way that he's pretty much handled everything going back to before the draft, right? Is say one thing and do another.
True, that's possible. If Trey's watching right now, what are your words of wisdom for him?
Go talk to Steve Young. Listen to Steve Young.
Go talk to Steve Young. Don't try to do too much. Calm down. Don't overthrow early in the game. You don't have to win this game. Don't lose the game. You don't have to win this game. You have to hand off and just play your position. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make heroic plays. Just don't turn the ball over, dude.
Yeah, just don't turn the ball over. Play within the offense. As long as you just play within the scheme of the offense, you're going to be fine.
Oh, the last thing I wanted to mention before we move on and take questions, that what I'm excited for this game is when he's had his playing time. We've never seen him in the shotgun running zone read with Debo. We haven't seen it.
Yep.
It's going to be really cool, and I think you could do so much off of that action. I mean, defenses? It's terrifying. Just those two guys. Really curious to see what that looks like.
Yeah, no, it'll be nice to see because we've seen Debo Samuel be used in the backfield so much more recently, and to see the two of them put back there, along with maybe even Trey Sermon, right? If he's healthy this week and brought back onto the active roster, just seeing that group and how they can make some chaos on the backfield, I think will be fun to watch.
I just am excited to see Lance and Debo in the backfield together. A lot of havoc can be created just from that simple alignment. Can be kind of interesting. And I have a feeling that there's a lot the 49ers have built. I mean, I think they're prepared for this. Maybe they weren't prepared for it in September, but it's now almost January. I think they're prepared for this.
Yeah, they should be able to come out and run their normal stuff with everything that we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo run is stuff that Trey Lance should be able to step in and do, those types of things. It's not like they have to rearrange their whole playbook for him.
It should just be the same running game, just enhanced a little bit because the quarterback is a threat. You don't have to use him. You could have a design run for him 2 times in the game. You don't have to do it a lot, but the threat's there every time. And as long as you do it near the goal line or for a critical first down with the game on the line, good.
Yeah,
that's how the Seahawks use Wilson or have.
Sure.
Been watching for 2+ months now. Love the show, Grant. Thanks, keeping it real. Trey area #. Jacob, thank you. Niner fans are reinvigorated. It's a whole new season. It's like the season just started. It's a new season.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I was impatient, but I'm not mad at how this script worked out.
No, it all worked out. But here's the thing, though. And to throw a little bit of water on all the fire.
Yeah.
There's the whole talk has been about getting Lance in there, but now what happens if the 49ers lose these next 2 games and Lance plays a big role in that?
What an offseason that would be.
Yeah.
What an offseason that would be. Well, Maybe be the return of Jimmy Garoppolo. Who knows? David Sir says disagree. Chances definitely go up. Jimmy's bar isn't that high. Can't throw, can't move, can't read defenses. Lance adds a running and deep throw. Yeah, my only thing is like he's been on ice for 11 weeks. And this is why I kept whining about this to Kyle and anyone who would listen the last 11 weeks. And people were basically like, shut up and enjoy the ride. Okay, fine. Well, I think you also are supposed to like enjoy the moment. What does it say? Prepare for the worst, something for the best, but you got to prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
And it seems like every team this year has had to go to their backup quarterback at least once. So surprised that they're surprised that this is happening.
The one area that does hurt them without Garoppolo is he does get the ball out of his hands really quick, and I don't know if Lance can get the ball out of his hands on some of those throws over the middle quite as fast as Garoppolo does. But hopefully he's not asked to do that, and they tail it a little bit more towards his skill set.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully in the last 16 weeks of him in practice, the Niners have gotten a good sense of what he does well and doesn't do well. I would hope. Go Floppolo has no special in him. Super Bowl winning quarterbacks do. Yeah, and you said that. I mean, your whole thing was you're going to win a Super Bowl with a guy who's gone to a Super Bowl and lost already. I mean, how many guys have come back and won after that? All Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Yeah, and there's only one guy that's not in the Hall of Fame that's even made it back, period. So, yeah.
Who's what? Who's who?
Craig Morton. He's the only one that's made it back after losing the first one. And he got smoked in the second one, too.
Good knowledge. Imagine Lance, Debo, and Mitchell triple option. Yeah, I mean, there's so much that the Niners can do without throwing. And then when you do throw, there's all those little dump offs you can have to Kittle. I mean, really, you can give so many layups to Trey Lance, and then the occasional shot, which should be wide open because the defense is tearing their hair out trying to figure out how to stop the run.
Yeah, and that's what I would hope to see is, play action, get him out of the pocket on those little easy dump offs that you saw him, like what we saw actually against Tennessee. That first, the first drive of the game was a lot of movement left and right to get out of the pocket and get away, and that works perfect for Trey Lance. It's funny that they got away from it in that game as well.
It is funny, Kyle. I got to go to the game wearing this just to make sure that he doesn't get away from things that are working, because that's really what quality control is supposed to be there. Charting things and reminding coaches, yo, it's working. Don't forget. Chris says, I'll tell you one thing, Lance hits juice on that pass 10 out of 10 times. Just saying. I don't know. But I do know that his touchdown throw to Debo was the same concept.
Remember? Yeah, well, I don't know if it was the same concept, but I know that if you watch Trey Lance in college, he threw that ball quite a bit and hit it quite a bit.
Well, it was similar. I don't know if it was the same concept, but what he did to Debo was underthrow it. Do you remember Debo had to stop, wait, and people? It was ugly, but at least they hit it.
Hey, you got it there.
Got it there.
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Considering the lies, do you believe John and Kyle when they say Trey has been elite these 4 weeks on scout team? Yeah, that's a good question. It's like, what else are you supposed to say at this point, right? He's been terrible, but we don't have a choice.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting that came out right after the reports, the Steve Young. It came right after Steve Young had gone on KMBR and told them that the Flyers were telling him by not playing him that he wasn't ready. Not that they had actually telling him that, but just by their actions, right? You had all that. You had a lot of discussion about Lance not being ready to go. And then all of a sudden, hey, you're hearing whispers from whoever about how great he's doing in practice. And then you have Fred Warner saying it up at the podium, and it just kind of goes from there.
That's why Steve Young is way smarter than me and us, and he's brilliant. We've been pushing, me and all of us have been pushing Kyle. Kyle doesn't respond to that. He digs in. So what Steve said, he just used reverse psychology. We talked about it. He's like, all right, fine. I'm with Kyle. Kyle's smart, and what Kyle's telling us is that Trey sucks. That's what Kyle's saying. I'm not going to argue with Kyle because I'm not there. Kyle's there. According to Kyle, Trey sucks. I can only, and Kyle's like, damn, I guess I have been sort of giving off that vibe, huh? All of a sudden, the reverse psychology works. Don't push Kyle. Judo him, get him, get him to use his own momentum against himself.
That's right. And then you got, and it's also Steve Young, which was probably who he looked up to when he was a kid. So
hell yeah, Steve even harder. Is the greatest. I love how Steve cares for the organization. He cares about it. Joe is like, I don't know, man. You guys kind of screwed me over there at the end, didn't you? Steve is his baby. I love that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true about the two of them.
And I can understand how Joe feels. Niners line up, Debo out wide, Wilson Jr. and Juice in the backfield. Pre-snap, Juice goes wide, Debo to the backfield with threat of Lance 2. Let's freaking go. I can't wait. I feel like this is Kyle and Mike McDaniel's moment to show Jimmy that it's not, that he's wrong, that he's not the secret sauce that makes his team work. Because I think Jimmy and his camp feel that no matter what you say about him and his game, the Niners have not shown that they can win without him. It's their opportunity to show that they can do it.
Yeah, that's they better, and they
They
really
better,
because if they lose these next two games, it's
going to get so bad.
It's going to be a long off season for him.
Correct. I thought Trey was supposed to have a cannon. He only could throw it 64 yards in that Cash App quarterback competition video. Mahomes, Allen can do 75 plus yards.
I don't know. He has a pretty video. He throws the ball pretty good. He has a little bit of a flat ball on the deep throws, but he's got a better arm than what they've had.
Thank you, Lord Luminous. Oh, okay. Moving on. What are realistic expectations for Trey Lance in his first start and first real action since week 5 and going on, assuming that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't play again this season?
Yeah, I think the realistic expectations for Lance are that he's going to struggle in the passing game, but he's going to make up for it with his legs. And you saw that's what we saw in Arizona, right? He was okay in the passing game, but he wasn't all that great. There were definitely some misses and what have
15 to 29.
Yeah, and some of those were throwaways, but there were there were misses and things like that. But he kind of made up for it with his legs, and I think that's why when you look at the two games combined, you have him and Garoppolo put up almost the same numbers, but it was a little bit more back and forth with Lance, right?
Yes.
Garoppolo's numbers are all from the passing game. Lance is a mixture of the pass and the run, and I think that's what you're going to get from him. And I think that there's been a disservice paid to Trey Lance a lot throughout this season in terms of in terms of what people have been saying about him. And what I mean by that is every time Garoppolo makes a mistake or he gets whatever, that's not going to happen with Trey. I think that's I think that's something that that causes
expect more rookie mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a rookie. It's been a while. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So he's going to make mistakes that he's hopefully if he can get complete 60% of his passes and do what he does with his legs on top of that, don't throw any interceptions, they're going to be fine this week.
I wouldn't even necessarily expect him to complete 60%. Although, again, if he's handing off most of the time and getting a lot of those quick, easy throws, he could. Mm-hmm. He absolutely could. But I think the expectation for him and for the 49ers usage for him is just use him like North Dakota State used him. They would average 19 throws a game in college. I think 19 throws is a fair goal. Keep him at, no more than 25. Of course, if you're losing and you have to come back, you got to do what you got to do. But that's the goal. That's the game plan, is to limit his attempts like that. And you want to take a couple of shots, but essentially he was a game manager in college. And we're hoping here is that he can manage the game, maybe even better than Jimmy, in the sense that he can limit turnovers and make some plays with his legs and take a couple shots down the field. But other than that, manage the game. The expectation for you is to manage the game. If you come in and make it all about yourself and try to be a hero, your team isn't going to like you because you got Debo, Kittle. Your job essentially is to distribute the ball to those guys who don't need. You could just walk over and hand it to them most of the time. It's very short throws, a lot. So just show that you can operate in that context, because really it's supposed to be like quarterback, training wheels for a quarterback.
Sure. Yeah. And we've seen the 49ers do that with Garoppolo. We just saw him doing it, a couple weeks ago against, the running game wasn't working out very well. And so they started using I think it was against Cincinnati. The running game's not working out well. So they basically just started using the passing game as an extension of the run game. It's just, dump offs and screens and those kind of things. And he can do those kind of things. And
the play action roll to the left.
Yeah, play action raw to the left, those little dumb things, the screens to Debo Samuel and Kittle, those types of things, and the over routes, which is what he did a lot of it at North Dakota State, and throw in one of those juice plays down the sideline because he'll hit it. I think
so. You got to take a couple shots. You have to. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? I would think a couple, 2, 3, 4. Why not? Anyway, but not a lot of throwing. You don't want to be afraid to use him in the passing game, but just the same way you use Jimmy against Jacksonville, the Rams. Why not? That's your formula for winning. I don't think it needs to change at all because you brought in a new quarterback.
Yeah, I would think that in this game, given the way that Houston has struggled against the run, you're going to want to try to run the ball, make this like that Rams game earlier in the year, where your goal is to run the ball 40 times again. And I think that's kind of what how you need to approach this game, because if they do that, I think they come out on top.
But I still think that the fan base's expectation is that he wins this game and he beats the Rams. I mean, Mullins beat the Rams last year. I think the expectation is, sorry, you didn't play this year, win, and then win again. And then, I mean, I don't know what the expectations would be in the playoffs, but I think the expectation is you could be a little rusty against the Texans. You still got to win. And then you got to need to play better the week after that, and then play better the week after that. There is a big monkey on Trey Lance's back. And it's not just that you got to replace Jimmy Garoppolo, who's a fan favorite. You got to justify this trade, which was, I mean, the Niners traded a second and a fourth for Steve Young. This is a whole different thing. You got to be great, and you got to at least you don't have to be great right away, but you got to show flashes of why this team traded for you, and don't look like a flat out bust. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's I think the one point that a lot of folks miss is what you just said right there. Is it's not just going out there and performing. You got to be better than a rookie a little bit because of what they gave up to get you. You need to get out there and you need to be able to show that you were worth three first round picks and a third. I mean,
how many NFL quarterbacks are worth that in a trade? How many NFL quarterbacks are worth 3 first round picks?
Yeah,
8, 7.
I doubt it's
Lance isn't worth 3 first. If the Niners put Lance on the trade block, they couldn't get 3 first. It's wild what they spent for him. Plus a third.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford wasn't even worth that much.
Stafford wasn't worth. I mean, really, okay, Mahomes is worth 3. Allen's worth 3. Watson theoretically. Is Rodgers worth 3 first round picks at 40 years old? I don't know that Rodgers is. I don't know that Brady is. Literally, he could be. I don't know, like Herbert maybe, like 5 dudes.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers fits it if you're looking at a 3 to 4 year plan and you're not worried about having picks down the road. But yeah, sure. But
not his fault either. But damn,
right? No, it's not his fault. It's the situation that they put him in. They put him in a tough situation here for him.
I expect the offense to look a lot like Washington did in 2012 with RG3. Run heavy with efficient pass game centered around Trey's mobility. Sure. But the exact structure of that was the idea behind the 2012 offense was let's make this offense look like the Baylor offense, right? Spread, pistol zone read. Same principle applies, but he didn't play in a Baylor offense, spread offense. He played in a pro style offense. That was the whole allure.
Yeah, and what Demain's saying here is what we were talking about throughout the offseason and even leading up to the Arizona game, and we didn't see anything close to that. So I wouldn't expect to see necessarily that because that RG3, that was they ran the ball a lot because they had a big bruising running back, and it was all screens and draws and that kind of stuff. And every once in a while they take a shot play down the field.
True. If they had drafted Justin Fields, I would expect them to run straight up Washington 2012 offense because that's kind of what Ohio State runs, similar. But no, that's not. I mean, that's new, essentially. That's new for Trey Lance. And you were there in training camp when they started installing the zone read. He fumbled it every day. It was new, totally new for him.
Yeah. There was they had a lot of issues with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of, most of his stuff at North Dakota State, I don't think they ran the zone read very much. Pretty much when he was running the ball, it was, I'm taking the snap and I might fake it to you, but I'm not even really faking it to you. I'm running. This is my ball the whole entire way. I'm not having to read anybody. And he didn't do a very good job of reading the zone read in the Arizona game.
It's not what they did. But he's more of a pro style quarterback who's athletic. And again, why I'm somewhat confident that he's going to work out and maybe not be a top 5 quarterback, but a good starting quarterback is even though he played at a small school, so did Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz, with the exception of really 1 year, has been a good quarterback in the NFL. He's a winning quarterback right now. He's not a great quarterback, but I think Lance is a superior prospect than Wentz was. And if it can work out for Wentz to a degree, it should be able to work out for Lance too, although they're in different situations, and we'll see. But anyway,
that brings us back to what you said a minute ago, as far as the three first rounders and the third.
Yes.
If he plays like
Carson Wentz,
if he is Carson Wentz, then we're talking like in year 5, everybody's ready to. We're looking at the same kind of situation as we are with Garoppolo in terms of the way people look at him.
No question about it. Yes. Trey will make enough wow plays to overcome his early development as a passer, i.e. rookie mistakes, which Jimmy cannot. Yeah. I mean, because that's how Josh Allen was as a rookie. I think he completed 50-something% of his throw low, but he would have those big plays with his arms and legs where the organization fan base is like, okay, we like this guy. We want to see what he's got next year.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. I think as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, he can be a little up and down because he's going to make some plays with his legs and he's going to make a few plays with his arms that you're going to like. Just don't turn the ball over and you should be okay.
Trey, a rookie, I'm going to be excited about his mistakes. I appreciate you, Lord Luminous. I'm going to be excited about his mistakes too. there's going to be a large contingent of the Niner fan base that's going to rip him, just as there's a large contingent of the Niner fan base that rip Garoppolo. It's just it's part of the territory. It's not easy to be a Niner fan, to be a Niner quarterback, because really Niner fans want and expect the best quarterback in the league. They had it for a cool 20 years, and having the 10th best quarterback, it's just not good enough. Having the 5th best quarterback, ask Jeff Garcia how much props he got for being roughly the 5th best quarterback in the NFL for like 3 years from his fans. Not good enough. Not good enough. Oh, Kurt Warner's better than you? Why can't we have Kurt Warner? Essentially, right?
Yeah, that's how it was. He didn't get any love during that period, really.
Oh, you're 5th best? Nice. You were Pro Bowler 3 years in a row? Oh, cool. 30 touchdowns. Yeah, it's how Niner fans are. Not good enough.
Or like the guys that used to sit behind me in Candlestick Park during his time. All they did was call him Pop Warner all the time. So,
oh my God. Happy feet, whatever. How do you think Kyle feels about starting Trey?
Hey, that's what you've got to do. Next guy up, and
I don't think it was the plan. Otherwise, he would have been playing Trey a little bit the last 11 weeks. But
yeah, I don't think it was the plan. I don't think it was the plan at all. And
nope.
But you took him, and now it's the time. So.
And you took him. You said the reason you made this move for another quarterback is that Jimmy gets hurt. Well, he got hurt again. You're supposed to be prepared. You know, you can't have like a situation like last year where the whole season falls apart because Jimmy got hurt. You were supposed to be prepared for this.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Lance is better prepared at this point of the season than the start of the next season. Hold on. Let me try reading it again in English. Think Lance is better prepared at this point of the season than the start of next season, especially since the rest of the team is gelling right now.
I mean, I think he's better prepared at this point than he was when he played against Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, as far as next season, next season, I think he'd be better prepared if he came in and was the guy all throughout training camp and starting week 1 next season, but that's not the case. But I do like the last sentence, the last part of that, this team gelling right now. I think that's important because he does have all of the pieces, and the offense has kind of changed since the first Rams game, and you're getting a little bit more explosiveness out of the backfield, and it would be nice to see that pairing.
I have 2 more expectations for Lance.
Okay.
I want to see him show some type of growth that's happened here. I want him to look a little different than he looked earlier in the season at North Dakota State, because when he played against Arizona, I'm like, what have the Niners done with you? Like, show me one thing Rich Scangarello has done with you. Show me the effects of their coaching. I didn't see it. So I'd like to see some growth there, and I'd like to see him he should know the offense completely, forward and back by now. Like, where he should struggle is like situational football, picking up the blitz, things that come with game experience. But he should know this offense. There shouldn't be like delay of games and confusion. I'd like to see just that kind of command.
Yeah, I'd like to see him be able to. Yeah, I agree. The command and the ability to go through the reads quickly and hit the reads, and
shouldn't be an issue.
I think we're still going to see balls that are scatter shot with him a little bit, because even when you watch him in practice, you still see that. But
we're going to see that his whole career unless something crazy changes.
Yeah. Well, unless he really gets his whole throwing process down, it's going to be that way. But I would hope that we see him do a better job of getting from 1 to 2 to 3 better than we saw at the first start.
I would like to see that. The main threat. So what you're saying is he plays as a pocket passer who just happens to be mobile. Okay, I'll take that. More of Mahomes minus recklessness. Yeah, I mean, take the scramble lanes when you can. Extend plays. Don't just stand in the pocket and get hit. Don't do that. But I don't think they need to do 5 to 10 quarterback runs. I mean, 2 if they're at the right time could win a game for you.
No, Trey Lance is a pocket passer who happens to be mobile. That's the way that they used him primarily and he would run the ball a few times a game, but he was primarily a pocket passer, and he doesn't want to just drop back and take off running and scrambling all over the place like crazy. So he's not Mahomes in that aspect. No. He's not going to drop back and start running all over the place trying to find somewhere to throw the ball.
Daniel Jeremiah compared him to Andrew Luck coming out of college, which is kind of interesting. Sort of that, more of that type of a skill set.
I could see that based on their size and that type of thing. They did use him as a running back at times, though. If he struggled as a passer, that's why we had that original thought of him when we watched him in the championship game. He was used he ran the ball 30 times in that game, but that was out of the norm for him. That was one of the few times he played the entire game.
Yeah, Jesus says, like I told you once before, Grant, if they just let Trey play, he would only improve his game just like he did in college. Well, That's another expectation. We'd like to see improvements. I mean, you don't have to kill it in this game. I think Mahomes wasn't great in his rookie year, but we'd like to see improvement from the first quarter to the second quarter, from the first game to the second game. I mean, it would really make Niner fans feel good.
No, yeah, if he can go out there and show some improvement, that'd be good. I see this a lot, but I thought he played really well his first game in college.
Monster game. Okay. Human Race Win says only advice for Trey: watch JB Fox in Any Given Sunday. I still haven't seen that movie.
No, I think I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Can he actually throw a spiral now? I'd like to see that. A lot of drops due to that. Also, biggest concern is throwing high over the middle. That's their bread and butter. Yeah, they got to not do that anymore. No more. That's Jimmy's bread and butter. Much more sideline stuff has to. I mean, I would recommend it as quality control. Can he throw a spiral now? It looks like he can in warmups, but it's different when it's a real game. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't just, sometimes the one day that recently that I was at practice, he would throw really nice. He looked like he was really doing good. All of a sudden he's got, a few of them that are all over the place, but he seemed to be a little bit better.
That's why I compare him to young Randy Johnson. It all looks good. And then there's that one to the backs up like, whoa, you missed everything, man. How did you do that? I don't know if you remember young Randy Johnson, but he was terrifying.
the one that blasts the bird on the way to the
yes,
catcher.
Absolutely. They want to be going, they won't be going too far in the playoffs with Trey, says DeAndre Brown, who I think misspelled his last name. Did he misspell his? I think he misspelled his last name.
I think he did.
He might have. It's all right. You could be right, but you were wrong about how to spell your last name. So I'm just saying, maybe
that's a low blow, man.
I'm just saying, he just seemed like in a rush. He seemed like he was really in a rush to get that comment out. Maybe think it through. Read it twice. I'm just saying.
But then if we're gonna rip DeAndre for misspelling his last name, we got to and say that he doesn't know what's going to happen. That we need to say the same thing about Schefter and Rappaport when it comes to everything they're saying after what happened with the draft.
That's true. If Lance isn't ready now, that says more about Kyle as a coach than it does about Trey as a rookie. Yeah, we're gonna have to. There's a lot of pressure on this day. Kyle and Jimmy have a bromance thing. That's it. I don't think so. I don't think they like each other at all. Maybe. I don't get that vibe.
I think they maybe they have a little bit of a love-hate relationship.
Maybe. Imagine they run through the playoffs. Shan would be given God status. Do it, dude. I will take back every single thing I ever said criticism of you if you win the Super Bowl with Trey Lance this year.
Yeah, I think everybody would.
Yeah, I think everybody would. Finally putting Trey in the fray. Ooh, I like that. Bringing that bar back. LOL. Love y'all. Keep it up. Trey in the fray. Trey in the fray. I'm going to use that and give you no credit. Thank you. Gabriel Reyes says, Grant, in regards to the first AZ game, both Debo and BA drop passes in crucial moments. Love your show and everyone you bring on.
It was Debo dropped. I don't think it was Brandon Ayuk. I think he's thinking about the drop from Muhammad
Sanu on third down. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Right across the middle. That was really probably people point to a lot of that was probably his best throw of the game in that moment.
It was a nice throw. Yeah. Huh. All right.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it yet, but how could we not? John, it didn't tweet, but he liked a tweet, and then it said he didn't like. He still doesn't know when he liked the tweet. He said he thought apparently he liked it in Christmas. No, you got caught in Christmas Eve. You apparently liked this way at least before 5 a.m. that day. So, what do you think?
I mean, how do you like that tweet and not realize that people can see what your likes are? I mean,
how do you have a Twitter if you don't know how it works? You're only going to get yourself in trouble. You're probably going to get yourself in trouble one way or another, but what did Kyle say? That's why I don't have a Twitter. That's why I don't have a Twitter. Exactly.
That's right. It could be a situation where, hey, maybe by the time that he saw that tweet, Jimmy had already said my thumb's messed up. I might not be able to play again. So then John's thinking, we're just gonna leave you in Tennessee then, and then that pops up and he hits it, and the next thing you know, it's all over Twitter and and he's in church, and those are some really fun tweets that I saw after that.
Here's the thing: it's a joke. It's funny. It's ha ha ha. If it was anyone else, it would be scandalous. If it was Trey Lance, imagine if Trey Lance mistakenly liked a tweet that said the Niners should leave Jimmy, and he's like, "Oh, I was in mass," and everyone would be like, first of all, you're lying. Second of all, you're off the team. That is unacceptable behavior. But good old honorable Hall of Famer John Lynch does it. He went to Stanford and was tutored by Bill Walsh, and everyone's like, well, he's a good Christian man who was at, it's like, wait a second. That is totally unprofessional what he did. And if the Niners miss the playoffs, which they could, and someone is going to get, someone is the sacrificial lamb, well, he just made it him. Now it's so easy for it to be you. I mean, your stock was up there for a little bit. Now you're the guy that they can't even trust to have a Twitter account. I mean, he made himself very vulnerable here. I'm not saying he's going to get fired, but if someone is getting on the chop block, you just put yourself there. You put yourself there.
How did he like the tweet while he was in mass to begin with?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like something a good Christian man like him would be doing.
What did he do? Did he leave his computer open to walk away and somebody walked by and saw it and liked it?
I don't know. Anyway, I think one day if he gets fired and looks back, where did it all go wrong in my tenure as a GM? Well, it was going great until I liked a tweet and didn't realize that people can check those. I should have known.
Yeah, or maybe what was happening was he was watching his My Football Life story and accidentally hit that as he was scrolling through. Who knows?
Possible. Jack, you better cheer for Trey like you cape for Jim.
Cap. He's trying to say cap for Jim like the kids do these days. But yeah, like I cheer for any of these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Jimmy wasn't going to get a playoff win anyway. At least Trey can develop more, and hopefully teams aren't ready for him and we steal a few wins. Yeah, where I feel bad for him, though, is if they miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, Trey, you have no idea how mad Niner fans are going to be at you.
if they finish
at you.
If they finish 8-9,
go ask Nick Mullins how it's going to feel. What it's going to be like. Just go give him a call. Hey Nick, how do are Niner fans understanding and patient with a backup quarterback who comes in? No, sorry. They're already they expect Colin Kaepernick. Like, you're going to the Super Bowl, man. Just because Colin Kaepernick did it 10 years ago when he was 25, you're going to the Super Bowl, Trey, and anything short of that means you're a bum. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. These are Niner fans, and we love them.
Accurate.
Yeah, that's how it is. They need to let Ambry play press, not zone.
I agree.
Yeah,
he's better in man coverage. That's what he's always been better at that.
Agree.
That's what he did in college. It's been kind of odd to see him not be doing that in the NFL.
Yeah. I agree. Press with that. All right, moving on. Oh, wait a second. I hate when you forget to make it scroll, because scrolling makes it feel like we're on SportsCenter. Boom! All right, here we go. Jack, who do you think is leaking all this information to Schefter and Rappaport?
I think when you look at the way that the tweets are worded from Schefter and Rappaport, and the fact that I think it was the Rappaport one who said he's going to try to gut it out. I think that kind of leads you to believe that.
Right. Who says something like that? Like, yeah, his camp. Because it makes him seem like, oh, he's a tough guy, though.
Right. Yeah. That's the only thing that makes sense, because they're trying to make it seem like he wants to play, he's ready to go, so on and so forth.
Right. It just seems like who has something to gain by leaking the specifics of this injury? The Niners, they were very vague, and the impression that they gave was that it's not a bad injury. Sprain, he might play this week. And then 15 minutes later, no, it's a chipped bone, it's a torn ligament. And yeah, he'll try to gut it out because he's just the toughest guy of all time, but it's a 5 to 6 week injury. I mean, what are you talking about? So it seems to me that Jimmy has a lot to gain from the specifics of the injury getting out. One, it excuses some of his poor play against Tennessee. And that was a doozy of a bad game. I mean, it was on national television. It was, the whole country had an opinion and blaming him. So it sort of gives him a cushion there. And what else does it do?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, is kind of how does it help him, other than
that?
Then trying to get teams to trade for him so that he can keep the pay that he's going to get. Because I think that the thought is if it doesn't get traded for, he's not going to get the kind of money that he's making right now.
That's true. I was talking about this with Coach Noah Johnson earlier. It's like, on the one hand, they could say, well, yeah, he got hurt, but it was a freak injury. I mean, it's his thumb. He's fine now. I mean, Russell Wilson got a thumb injury. He's still going to be the hottest guy on the market this year. Someone's going to give up 3 first-round picks for him, so you can't. But then the other team could say, yeah, but it's not so much the thumb, but like a pattern. It's the fact that it's always something with your client. It's 2 injuries a year, essentially. So it's your thumb, it could be your toe, it could be whatever. That's so I don't know. I don't know that I didn't really think he had a trade market to begin with. I guess that's what I'm feeling about this. But yeah, I think they're trying to preserve whatever that is and his reputation.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is they're trying to preserve some kind of a trade market so that he can keep his contract. That's
better to think that you broke your thumb than to think that you laid that kind of an egg on national television with that on the line.
Yeah, the whole thing's weird because you also had, there's definitely was some kind of a campaign I think going on because that's why you had the whole mic'd up thing with him after the game against Atlanta, right? And everybody's just pumping him up so hard. That was just kind of led me to think too that the 49ers were kind of behind that, trying to pump him up so they could get, try to get that first round pick they keep talking about.
Yeah, they thought they were so close, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I do think this is probably Jimmy Garoppolo's case. And again, the fact that the Niners got the information wrong makes me feel like I don't think Kyle would say, yeah, it's a sprain. And then you'd have Parag in the background being like, all right, I'm going to go leak this information and make Kyle look dumb. Like, nice. No one will see it coming. No, it doesn't make any sense. To me, it's like Jimmy's camp's a little sensitive right now, probably. Like, oh, you threw Jimmy under the bus. You downplayed his injury. Well, we need to let people know what's really going on. Like, actually, he was a tough dude. He gutted it out, didn't use it as an excuse, but it was really bad. And you know what? Now the Niners have to prove that they were carrying him and not the other way around. Because I think Jimmy's camp probably feels that no matter what anyone says, he's been carrying this team. Because look at their record before he came. Look at the record when he's not there. We'll see what their record is when he's gone.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think that their camp I think Garoppolo's camp has been frustrated going back to when the trade was made. And that's just kind of further, this has all been festering underneath. And now he has an injury that's bad enough to keep him out. And they're not going to let the team dictate the narrative on this.
Trey Lance in the MF in house. Trey storyline begins now. Niner fans are happy. This really reinvigorated. You get a little tired. It's a long season. And the playoffs are not quite there, and this really just reinvigorated everyone. I'm very happy for the drama of the NFL season.
Oh yeah, doesn't this season seem like it's been longer than a normal season? I mean, it seems like this season's gone on for a long time.
I know, week 17, and we're not even at the end yet. Mufasa from the grave says if the 49ers miss the playoffs, then not only is this season a waste of time, but this franchise is cursed. And Mufasa would know.
Yeah, he would.
Here's the thing. There's a family little Christmas and new addition to the family, little 2.5-year-old cousin named Louis. And he knows all the Lion King songs. I mean, kids still to this day love Hakuna Matata and I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Those songs are magical songs that just transfix children to this day. I mean, those were big songs when I was a kid anyway. Just wanted to mention that. Mufasa, you really had it. It's like you and Prince. I mean, your impact on pop culture, it's not talked about enough. Over under 12 carries for Trey on Sunday. Oh, my God.
That better be under.
It better be under. That's a good number right there, though. It better be under.
Yeah, it better be. It better be under 10, really.
Better be under 10. Is Jimmy officially ruled out for Sunday? No. How do we know he won't try to give it a go? We don't. Or Kyle will pull some shenanery and play him. If Rappaport's correct, then he's not playing he's not playing. He's not playing until they go to the Super Bowl. And if Trey Lance takes him to the Super Bowl, then Jimmy ain't playing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Rappaport's wrong about a lot of stuff. So we'll see. I noticed that did Schefter convert Rappaport's report or was it all Rappaport with the specifics?
Shanahan Schefter is the first one. Schefter is the first one that I saw. I didn't see
Rappaport until after. Right, that's true. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hopefully Rappaport doesn't lead us astray yet again. Tinfoil hat theory. What if Shanny knew Jimmy Garoppolo would get them to the playoffs, then insert Trey? No film except against Arizona. In that game, they didn't show off. I don't know. I think Jimmy got hurt, and this is plan B.
Yeah, but this brings up a funny topic, though, that was going around Twitter, if you remember back around the training camp, was that Garoppolo's the better quarterback for the regular season, but Lance is the better quarterback for the postseason. Do you remember that? And
we're going to see it. Yeah, that theory will be tested.
Yes.
Yanni Vander Balen says, oh, wait, we already got you. Sorry.
Yep.
What if Kyle said what he said about the injury so teams can't prepare for Trey? And Jimmy's camp leaked it as a final payback to Kyle for all the stuff he put Jimmy through. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds right.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I would think that definitely passes the smell test. We don't know for sure, but that's plausible. Truth be told, we're better off getting third-day picks multiple for Jimbo. That's the only times we're consistently successful in the draft anyway. Nice. True. Can't disagree with that, Anthony Adams.
You can't screw up in the first round if you don't have a first-round pick.
That's a good point. Scars Be Prepared is still the hardest diss song ever. He wanted all.
Oh, man.
True. That is true. That is true. I forgot about that. Thank you, man. That was got to be the best. Well, Aladdin was pretty good too. I liked Aladdin. Aladdin had a whole new world. Man, all you got to do is play that for a girl in like third grade. It was over. It was over.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Back when you're trying. I'm just saying when I was in third grade. Okay, Aziz Al-Shair.
All right.
Probably won't play. Knee sprain. He gets hurt a lot. Good player. What are your thoughts on this development?
I think I've been enjoying watching the Aziz Al-Shair talk escalate as the season's gone on. I would compare Aziz Al-Shair to Navarro Bowman in the sense that both of them played alongside really good linebackers who made them seem better than they are.
Good call.
I think that's what we're seeing with Aziz Al-Shair.
I think that's fair. I always felt that way about Bowman. Like, yeah, he's really good, but some people would say, hot take, Bowman's better than Willis. I'm like, you stop it right there. You hold the front door. No, absolutely not. Patrick Willis is the Willie Mays of inside linebackers, and Navarro Bowman is very good too, but Willis is making him look better than Willis is the one who's not playing behind Justin Smith. Anyway, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Warner has more difficult assignments.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that Bowman, because by the time Bowman played by himself, he had already torn up his knee, so we don't know how much that slowed him down afterwards. Sure. But that's kind of the way that I look at it. I think Al-Shair, they can get away with him down. What's the situation again with Talanoa Hufanga? Is he on injury reserve or is he just injured?
He's just injured.
Okay.
So he may be able to come back and play in this game. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because that's important without Al-Shair, him being around is helpful as another kind of a box defender if he can play.
Yeah, I mean, the only way Houston's going to win this game is if they have a balanced attack and they can go for 200 yards on the ground like they did last week. And, they shouldn't be able to do that as long as the Niners aren't totally decimated at linebacker.
Yeah, I think the only way the 49ers lose this game is kind of what I told you before the Tennessee games. If they do it themselves, that's the only way they're going to lose this game. You're just looking at what Houston's done.
But you predicted that the Niners would lose that game. You're really good at predicting outcomes, and you could kind of see it. It's like, well, first of all, Tennessee has a good run defense. Second of all, their passer rating allowed over the middle is 70. I mean, that's a recipe for the Niners beating themselves, and boom, they did.
Yeah, the whole thing, I can understand people kind of sleeping on them a little bit because they were 3-3, but then you look at it and you realize that in those 3 losses, they turned the ball over 13 times and hadn't got any on their own side. A very similar situation here with Houston, and Houston's not as good as.
But they beat Tennessee once. Just putting that out there, they did.
No, they did. That's the game when Tennessee turned the ball over 5 times.
There you go. So yeah, don't turn the ball over 5 times. That's the key to the game.
Really, if they cannot just. If they just don't turn the ball over at all, they're going to win this game. They're the better team. No turnovers. They're going to handle business. I think their defense is better than, you look at the last 2 games. I know everybody's getting all excited about the quarterback from Houston, Davis Mills, because he was a 3rd round pick. He is good, but he also has beaten 2 of the worst defenses the last 2 weeks in the league in Jacksonville and Los Angeles. So the 49ers, for all their issues that they have, should be able to give him more trouble than he's faced the last 3
years.
And
again, like, don't turn the ball over. With Trey, coming back to Trey, I'd just like to see him start his career as a game manager.
Yeah.
Just be a humble game manager. Don't lose the game and build from there. Because if you go back 20 years ago, that's what Tom Brady was when he was young. He was not throwing. He was not Peyton Manning right away. He was not that until maybe he was 30.
No, he was early on in his career. It was a lot of running, a lot of close games. That's why those early Super Bowls were mostly field goals at the end of games, and the defense kind of really helped him out along the way. And all he was doing was not making the big turnovers.
Managing the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At a high level. Trey, do that. And it's what you did in college. That's essentially what you did in college. Do it here. Now you got Debo, Kittle, Ayuk. It's not hard. You're going to hand off 40 times. You're good at that. Maybe not Jimmy Garoppolo good, but you're good. Come on. Manage the game. We're talking about Aziz, but we're talking about Trey too.
Yeah, we switched back over to Lance. But if Lance just play your offense and let's see how Lance does with your offense. That's what I want to see.
This YouTube community needs a name. I vote for the Chonies. The Conies. Sure, you can do that. I like that.
I like Chonies. That's funny.
Chonies is good too. Trade Jimmy for 5 fifth-round picks. Now that's creative. If the Niners were to do something like that, I would give them just a bunch of fifth-round picks. Like that's self-awareness. Don't get a third. You miss in the third. Get the fifth.
There you go.
Multiple fifths. We'll give you a third for Jimmy. Ooh, how about a fifth? 2 fifths.
Give me 2 fifths. There you go.
Enough talk. They just need to shut up and play. I wish.
It's only Tuesday. We got a long way to go. Yeah, it's only Tuesday. We got plenty of time to talk.
Zona signs Brashard Breeland. Thoughts? Good signing for them.
Yeah, they need someone. Breeland has not been good. So
no, but I mean he's better than whoever else they have starting opposite Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
He's no Ambry Thomas though.
Hey, Ambry Thomas played better last week, right?
He did. See, the way I was there, it seemed like he was at least competing. And what the Titans, after a while, were like, you know what? We'll just go after Norman. This is way easier. Way easier over here.
Yeah. It was. We didn't talk about that in this, but that pass defense was rough, man. That was really, really rough. The second half was really bad with their pass defense.
Well, let's talk about it right now.
I mean, the thing with their pass defense in that game, and I know that Garoppolo. If you're laying blame on the game, the lion's share of the blame, 90% of it goes on Jimmy Garoppolo.
We all agree on that. Yes.
Yeah.
90%.
But when you look at what that pass defense allowed, what was it? 8 completions to AJ Brown on third down, I think was the number I saw. And 6 of those were for first downs. And that was the most receptions by a player on third down since 1978.
Oh, yeah, it's not good. Especially a good defense shouldn't let that happen. Good coordinator, good defense shouldn't let that happen.
And that was really their one guy. And they had another guy who I'd never heard of before made a couple of deep receptions on them as well on third and long. They just couldn't get pressure on the quarterback against a third string left tackle and a really bad right tackle. I know they were playing a lot of max protect, and DeMeco Ryans needs to come up with something to counter the chips on Bosa. Because that's what we've seen. We saw it against Green Bay. We saw it on Thursday night. When teams go ahead and chip Nick Bosa, he's completely ineffective, and the 49ers look like they have no way of counteracting it.
Yep, it's true. He just gets pushed to the inside, and he's like, "Well,
yeah, and that's what we saw. They just there's no pressure from them, and that group's been playing pretty well up front, but they just did not perform at all on Thursday night in the second half. It was a really good first half. The second half was rough. I understand you can't blame them for the first touchdown that they allowed. I mean, you can if you want to, but they started on the 18-yard line after the pick.
Right.
But the way that the first drive and the third drive of the second half with all those third down conversions, they just couldn't get off the field. And I do think that they deserve a little bit of criticism for the way that they played.
I agree. I mean, to me, I don't expect Josh Norman or Ambry Thomas to win one-on-one against AJ Brown in any situation. I don't I haven't seen the film of the defense, but it seems to me that in a situation where you're going against an offense that has legitimately one threat, like Julio Jones was nowhere in that game. I can't even name the tight ends. Ferkser, they're not going to beat you. You got to have you should have 10 different ways to double team AJ Brown on third down so the ball goes elsewhere. I mean, 16 targets, 11 catches. That should have been 8 targets. You should have found a way to get Tannehill to throw other places. And I'm sure you leave other people open, but you got to live by the philosophy of you're not going to let AJ Brown beat you in this game because he's the only person on this team who's going to beat you. The Niners can beat you with multiple people. Kittle, Debo, not Tennessee.
No, and you're right. They had to just shut that guy down. I'm going to shut this guy down, and I'm going to take my chances and see if they can beat me with everybody else. But this guy's not going to be the one that makes the plays.
And what was interesting with what Vrabel did was his decision was to shut down Kittle. They really made it a point to double Kittle, bracket Kittle. Don't let Kittle beat you. And interesting choice. Debo's just as good, if not better, and he had a great game. The Niners, there was no choice. You have to shut down Brown. Julio Jones is not moving well. No one else it has even name value. That's it. And he couldn't do it. And it's not that he's inexperienced. Saleh was the same way. Saleh was the same. It was one of my really only criticisms of Saleh was he would lose to teams like that. One threat. And it's like, man, you're too smart. You're too good. You're too talented to let that happen. But I think both D'Amico and Saleh are very committed to their scheme and being sound on defense, that they don't want to really like tilt their defense to take away one guy and leave themselves vulnerable in other places. I don't think they like to. And I think it's a weakness, and it's something that Belichick and his disciples do really well. Opponent specific attacks.
Yeah, that's what you have to do that to a certain extent. You have to try to take away one thing and and let it and say, well, I'm going to live with them beating me here, but I'm going to take away this because this is worse for us. And
absolutely. I think that's
they don't do that.
That's what Tennessee did. They took away the run game, which they're good at doing. They took away Kittle and said, beat us another way. And Debo went off, but the Niners really don't win often when they're forced to play that way. It's not their brand. Anyway, important that Number Fine found his touch on his throws. Did he? I guess we'll see.
It seemed like, when I was there a couple weeks ago, it seemed like he was throwing the ball a little bit, not with as mumuch. I mean, he was still zipping it in there, but it wasn't overthrowing it like he was early in the year.
It was good. I vote for Chonies. Well, I guess it's Chonies. That's what it is. Love the channel, Grant. All your co-hosts. Seems most fans are pumped to see Trey take over this team. Yeah. And the Trey train. I wonder what that's going to look like on Monday of next week. But this is a very exciting time. Did I tell you that I was in Nashville and dude ran into my wife and me at a hot chicken place and was like, "Hey man, I'm watching you right now." And he had he had it on his phone. He's like, "I know Jack, I know Jason, I know Jesse, I know the whole crew." It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
That's really cool. Dude in town from North Carolina to watch the game with his wife was cool.
That's awesome.
Thanks, KB8 Dunk. Appreciate it. But you don't have anything. Okay, here we go. Lance ran a pro style offense in college. He's never run read option yet. Shanahan tried running him into the ground, doing read option at WTF. Yeah, WTF. But I don't think he better not do that in this game. We've talked about that.
Yeah, hopefully they don't. I mean, I know they have those zone read stuff in their offense, but they do it with Garoppolo, and most of the time it's a designed handoff to begin with.
Ambry, count 1, 2, 3, then turn your head around. Okay. Hey, Trinidad Archuleta giving coaching tips for free, not even paying to coach Ambry Thomas. That's generosity.
That's right.
That's generosity.
That's real fandom.
All right, Jack. Well, yeah, I got to say that this news has really kickstarted the interest in the 49ers season. Not kickstarted, but just got it. It's getting a little stale.
Yeah,
so I'm glad.
Reinvigorated.
The show in. If Niners had a true cornerback like Jair Alexander or Jalen Ramsey, they wouldn't get beaten by Julio Jones at Atlanta. Yeah. I'm going to keep sending in letters once a month to Jed and Parag saying you might want to draft a cornerback a little earlier. Maybe.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
R.W. McQuarter's son was watching the show earlier, apparently. He said, gave a $2 tip. Thank you, Robert. Go. All right, everyone. The show is over. Thanks for watching. I'll be in Santa Clara tomorrow. It's only going to get weirder. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned.